Let's do some applications of proportions. All right, the problem on the left says to determine the number of deer in a game preserve, a forest ranger catches 254 deer, tags them, and releases them. Later, 171 deer are caught, and it is found that 81 of them are tagged. Estimate by this method how many deer there are in the game preserve. Okay, let's draw a forest. A picture is oftentimes very helpful. In this forest, there are X deer, but of those X deer, 254 were caught and tagged. But then they were released, so they all scatter. They mingle with the untagged deer. We then catch a new sample set of deer. And in that new sample, there are 171 deer. But of those 171, 81 of them are tagged. Okay, so now we need to set up a proportion between the sample and the full-size forest. So I'm going to say X deer is related to 254 tagged deer. That's of the forest. I need to do the same rate in the sample. So there are 171 deer in the sample, but 81 of those are tagged. The way we solve this proportion, the hardest part was to set it up. The way we solve the proportion is to cross multiply 81 times X is equal to 254 times 171. We're going to solve for X, so we're going to take 254 times 171 and divide everything by 81. And I'm going to use a calculator, and the calculator comes out to be 536.22, etc. Wow, and that's not the way we need to round. It says round it to the nearest whole number, which makes sense because we're only estimating. So round this to the nearest whole number. So the answer they're looking for is 536 deer are in this forest. The next problem is a typical winter snow condition. 0.5 feet of snow gives us 2 inches of water. How many inches of water would there be in 6.5 feet of snow? Let's use our mathematical knowledge, proportion solving to do this problem rather than guesstimating. So we're told that 0.5 feet of snow is equivalent to 2 inches of water. That's a rate. We want to set up a rate on the other side of the equation in the same order, snow to water. How many inches of water, that's the unknown, inches of water, is equivalent to 6.5 feet of snow. So we have snow to water, snow to water. Solving, we cross multiply. 0.5x is equal to 2 times 6.5. 2 times 6.5 is 13. And to solve for x, 0.5 or half a foot, a half is equal to a half. And to remove the coefficient, we multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 2. So 2 times 13 is our answer. We have 26 inches of water is the equivalent. Here is another proportion problem. There are several more that have subtle differences. Make sure you're understanding how I'm doing each of these problems because I'm not doing every one of them for you. A tablet of medication consists of 2 substances that are in a ratio of 9 units to 3 units. But we're going to make the actual pill. The tablet contains a total of 120 milligrams. How much of each of the 2 substances are in this full-size pill? Let's make what I call a sample pill. And the ingredients are in the order of 9 to 3. The actual pill has 120 units. And the substances need to be proportional to the sample. So let's call this X, let's call this Y. There are actually two different ways of doing this problem. I'm going to show you one of the two ways I could do this problem. Since we're told we don't know the amount of either substance down here, but we know the total, let's go and figure the total substance in the sample. The sample has 12 units. The actual tablet has 120 units. Now we can set up two separate proportions. There's two problems in one. We would have 9 units from the sample is to 100 to X, excuse me, to X units in the tablet. That's the same as 12 total units to 120 total units. So I'm taking one ingredient in the sample to the same ingredient in the tablet, total units in the sample to total units in the tablet. Cross multiply to solve. 12x is equal to 9 times 120. X is equal to 9 times 120 all over 12. 12 goes 120 10 times. 10 times 9 is 90. Now, there are 90 units here. We know there are 120 altogether, so Y should turn out to be 30 units. But what if I made a mistake in my calculation down here? It's better to start the problem all over again, so that if you made a mistake on the first part, maybe you get the second part right. So I'm going to take 3 units out of the sample is to Y units in the tablet. That's equivalent to 12 units in the sample to 120 units in the tablet. Again, I'm going to cross multiply. 12y equals 3 times 120. Y is equal to 3 times 120 all over 12. 12 and 120 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30. And 30 units plus 90 units does add up to the total milligrams in the actual tablet.